to intermarry. One of the leading contributors to Birthright is the Helmsley Charitable Trust. In her lifetime, New York businesswoman Leona Helmsley was nicknamed the Queen of Mean, and she was convicted of tax evasion in 1989 and sentenced to time in prison. Her husband, Harry Helmsley, died in 1997, leaving her over $5 billion. Leona began giving away large sums of money to charity, and following her death in 2007, the Helmsley Charitable Trust has been giving away some $90 million per year, including some $30 million each year to Israeli causes. One of the 4 trustees who decides where the money goes to is trustee Sandy Frankel, who told IBA's Steve Leibowitz that the Helmsley fortune will be used to improve lives for many years to come.
We have been selling off the assets of the estate, and so far the estate has generated over $5 billion.
$5 billion?
$5 billion, yes. And it all goes to the charitable trust for charitable purposes.
Leona Helmsley was named in the New York media as the Queen of Mean, and yet the Helmsley Foundation is just giving away fortunes of money.
Then was then, and now is now. Right now, the Helmsley name, I think, is associated with good deeds throughout the world, much of it in Israel. Israel is one of our primary focus areas. So whatever connotation there may have been to the Helmsley name before, whether it was right, wrong, deserved, undeserved, we're dealing with an opportunity to do tremendous good, and we're trying as best as we're able to have a real impact in areas where we think that charitable dollars can do good for people.
Tremendous good. We're talking about what size of donations each year to Israel?
Well, so far, we've given grants in Israel of over $100 million. And hopefully it will continue to grow. We've given grants in a lot of different areas. And so far, I think we haven't made any mistakes.
There are so many potential worthy causes in Israel. We have so many problems of poverty, the haves and the have-nots. How do you decide where to make the contributions?
When I was first named as a trustee, I came to Israel and I had the honor of meeting President Peres. And I had asked for the meeting because I figured that his view of Israel is a bit better than mine from 45th Street and Park Avenue in Manhattan. And I asked him, what can we do? Where can we do the most good in Israel? And he said, what distinguishes us from the rest of the world is our brains. You should invest in the Israeli brain. And that resonated with me. We've, as I say, tried to pick and choose where we could have the greatest impact. And hopefully we're succeeding.
But not only in research, I noticed that just recently, in the last few days, full-page ads in the New York Times and other places, and all it had on it, the entire page, was the Israeli Declaration of Independence.
Yes, I think a lot of the problems that exist in the world as far as their perception of Israel is based on ignorance. People just don't know what the country is, what it stands for. And I thought that simply reprinting the Declaration of Independence, which establishes the principles on which the country was established, signed by David Ben-Gurion and all of the others, would be educational for people. And we've gotten tremendous feedback because all it is was a full page in the New York Times and USA Today of the text of the Declaration of Independence. No narrative, no commentary. In the law, we have an expression, res ipsa loquitur, a Latin expression. It means the thing speaks for itself. And the Declaration of Independence speaks for itself. When you read it, other than the establishment of Israel as a Jewish state, it could be the American Declaration of Independence. There is a great parallel between the democratic and related principles of Israel and of the United States. And I think that people who read it will understand that and will take away from it the fact that Israel is not a country of conflict. It's a country of tremendous abiding principles that are entirely consonant with those of the United States and will resonate with people in the United States and throughout the world.
Well, turning to